Hey everyone, welcome to The Word on the Street Is with Michael and Gabby, where we mention it all about your favorite Bravo celebrities and the shows they star in.
Hey friends, we are so excited to have another wonderful guest, another fellow Bravo-holic, who some of you may know from her super fun TikToks, Leah, aka Queen Board. Hey Leah.
Hi, how you guys doing? I'm so excited to be here.
We're excited to have you.
Yeah, your TikToks are so much fun. You always give a very, I feel, objective, non-biased opinion about what's going on. And I always find it really refreshing. And your comments to people are always pretty funny too.
You know what? I have my good days and my bad days. Depends when you catch me.
For sure. Love that.
I don't have time for the stands that just can defend horrible behavior.
TikTok and Instagram can both be super toxic. So,
oh my goodness. Yeah.
That's right.
Totally. Best and worst of humanity.
Yeah.
100%. So for those of you who've been listening to our podcast, you will know that when we have a guest on for the first time, we have them share their Bravo palette. So Leah, if you could start off with giving us your 5 favorite Real Housewives of all time, past or present is fine.
Well, this was really hard. When I was thinking about this, I thought long and hard, and I know I'm probably going to get some hate when people hear this because I never even talk about this on my TikToks or my lives. I've never really spoken about this. But I love Kyle, and I know that could be polarizing, but I love Kyle. I also love Nene forever and always. I'm a Nene fan. Wish she was back on the show. I love Nene. New Jersey, this might surprise people, but I'm a Marge girl.
Okay.
I like my Margaret. I think she's fun. And I wanted to try to pick one from each cast. Potomac was so hard for me to choose one because I really adore every single one of them. Even when I, address things that I don't like that they do, I still love all of them. But I have to pick Karen. I love Karen Huger. There's something about her that I adore. Yeah. And New York was hard for me. I've struggled a lot with New York for a lot of the same reasons I think we're dealing with Salt Lake City right now and problematic cast members and stuff like that. But if I had to think on it, it would probably be Dorinda, even though she's not without her problems. It would be Dorinda or Sonia. They're like a tie for me. I'm a Sonia Rita girl.
They're both pretty chaotic. So
yeah, they have a lot of chaotic energy and they're kind of underdogs in a way. And I think I like that. I like that cast member on a show. But again, New York is problematic. So it was hard for me to pick my favorite.
Understandable. So It sounds like if you were going in order, was Kyle Richards your number one favorite housewife?
She's consistently my favorite housewife season after season, even though she always gets herself into some producer-esque situations. I've met her in real life very randomly on a playground. So we had a 30-minute conversation, like 2 moms, and I was like, you can tell why she has these long female friendships, because she really does give off that like she didn't come off as very pretentious, and she talked to you just like another mom on the playground. Mm-hmm. And it would have continued on for an indefinite amount of time. She seems like a real girl's girl, and I like that about her. I don't like when she chooses Rinna over her sister. That bothered me. When, there's certain things she does where I'm just oh, Kyle, why did you do that? But I think consistently for as long as the show's been on, she's a great housewife. She is.
I didn't like Kyle until Brandy and Kim left, and then I started liking her. And then Gabby disagrees with me, but I hate LVP. So she gained some respect after her blow up with LVP.
But listen, I think that's one of those friendships when it ended that was really heartbreaking for me as a longtime housewife viewer. I hated how that ended. I just felt so strongly that Teddy LVP was never good when Kyle made a new sidekick BFF. There were always tensions with Like LVP did have a jealous streak, like with Kyle and Taylor. That was like the first, I mean, I don't know if you guys remember that all the way back to the first few seasons. Like it was contentious.
Yeah.
LVP did not like to share her BFF.
But Kyle didn't either, because when LVP had Brandy, Kyle was jealous. When LVP had Dorit, Kyle was jealous. So
there you
it
go.
went both ways.
It did, but that was one of those friendships when it ended. I always in the back of my mind was like, oh, I wish these two could just get along again.
Yeah, that was a fun friendship for sure.
Yeah, they were
Somebody
funny
holds
together.
grudges, so
yeah, you think?
yeah.
Still talking about it at every opportunity.
Seriously, even on Vanderpump Rules.
They really do. Yeah, Kyle was mentioned on this current season of Vanderpump Rules. You're right, Michael, when LVP said, oh, that's where Kyle's buried in there. I was like, yeah, girl.
And she did a TikTok with that one from $1 Million Listing LA, and she's touring the house with her. And on the TikTok, she's like, this is the kitchen where I told, and it's like, really? Like, you're on a TikTok. Why are we doing this right
She's got to get over it.
Go,
I remember seeing that.
Pinky. Go be Nanny Pinky to Teddy. Nanny Pinky. Yeah, so those are my top 5.
Awesome.
But it could change, you know.
Yeah.
We'll just have to have you on again so we can hear the update.
Yeah. And I love like Garcelle and Sutton. I've loved them since they joined the show. I got so much poop when I first started like saying how much I love the two of them last season. And look who was right.
Yeah, everyone loves.
Now
I'm on the wrong team, so I'm a Rinna stan. So.
Oh, listen, I couldn't imagine Beverly Hills without Rinna.
Yeah.
I mean, she's a good, like, she's messy, and you need a good pot
You
stirrer.
need that, yeah, exactly.
Kenya Moore of Beverly Hills, like both Rinna and Kenya joined in season 5. They're massive pot stirrers. They're very like divisive, like fans either freaking love them the way Michael and I do, or they hate them. Like there's always Kenya hate comments anytime we post about her.
But I adore Kenya for those same reasons. Like they make good housewives. They're not like doing anything that's destroying anybody's world necessarily. Like give me those types of housewives any day over some of these like legal issues and the court issues and you know, I miss the good old days of a pot stirrer, of a gossip, of a, you know, of a person who tries to like fit in too hard. Like those are like my dream housewives.
Yeah.
A dream ensemble.
Yeah, I love a messy housewife.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you need them.
Can we please hear your 5 least favorite Real Housewives?
Oh, you know what? This was also hard for me to think of. It was actually really, really hard. And again, New York, believe it or not, 2 come from New York. Ramona, if you follow me on TikTok, you know I do not like Ramona. I went off the coaster. And Leah. I do not like Leah at all. And I get a lot of flack for that too, but I stand by my feelings about Leah. So 2 are from New York. I don't, and this was the one that I think is going to get people the most upset, Melissa Gorga.
I hate Melissa too.
Melissa Gorga, Teddy. And then my final of all time, which is another questionable one for some people, is Porsha.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow. Okay. I'm going to need you to elaborate on that one.
Well, it was the evolution of Porsha. When she first started the show, I adored her. I loved her friendship with Nene. I loved watching her leave that horrible marriage she was in, turn into her own person. I thought it was fantastic. My issue was when that whole thing started with the lie that she got embroiled in with Phaedra, and then the rumor about Candy and all of that stuff. And I don't like when people get so messy like that. Like that's too messy for me. You know?
See, I love that.
I was like rooting for her so much. Like I adored her. And then I'm like, oh, you really had to do that, didn't you? You had to go there. And and I had a moment where I loved her again when we got to like see her and Dennis get pregnant finally. And like, that was such a happy moment. But it wasn't enough for me to be like, I can look past that, because she was really someone I adored as a housewife. And then it was just like a fast fall for me.
Yeah, and I heard her spinoff was really, really like bad. I didn't watch it, but
I watched the first couple of episodes, and then it seemed like real life, real time started to interfere with the storyline on the show. And like the relatives started coming out, and I'm like, oh, it loses something for me when it seems so contrived.
yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people are thinking really differently of Porsha, it feels like, from watching this show.
I only watched the first 2 episodes, but as someone who adored her, it was, for me, it was hard. It was hard for me to lose my Porsha, because I did adore her. I mean, yeah. Atlanta can do no wrong to me. There's 2 franchises that I've always loved, Atlanta and Potomac. Like, I consistently think they're very good franchises.
Potomac top tier, and it's been consistently top tier. Atlanta's like been pretty, at least I'm speaking on my opinion of Atlanta. I think Atlanta's been pretty steadily amazing, but the last like 2 seasons just haven't been as good to me as Potomac.
Yeah, for me, Potomac originally I wasn't as obsessed with, but it's just gotten better and better over the years. And Atlanta was always in my top 2, but honestly, I think Potomac is like overtaking Atlanta right now.
Well, Potomac is, you know what? Potomac is amazing because you can tell they're all friends.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It makes a big difference.
It does. And even if they're frenemies, they still like care about.
Yeah, Karen and Giselle have been a perfect example of that.
Yeah.
I've never slept on Potomac. I've loved it from day one.
Oh, okay. See, I was late. I was tardy to the party.
Oh, you were tardy.
Yeah,
no, it was, to me, it was great. But I watch all of them. Nothing will stop me. And
yeah,
I'm into my Cheshire now.
Yeah.
Cheshire.
Oh, yeah.
I've made it to season 4.
Oh, wow. You are like full steam ahead.
I am full steam ahead. They won't let you watch the reunions though.
We have Hey You, so we've been watching a lot on there.
And Hey You has the reunions for Cheshire.
Oh, see, I can't without a different VPN. I can't watch any of them, which is so depressing.
I am actually watching the one and only season of DC right now for the first time, and it's very I don't know how to feel about it.
What do you mean? That whole series was robbed.
Really?
From existence, because
I like Mikhail a lot, even though she's like a disaster.
It was because of Mikhail.
Yeah, because they like stormed that dinner or the event.
Broke into the White House.
Yeah. And now she's with like a Journey guitar player.
Yeah.
She was like, I mean, she was a disaster, but she was the most entertaining. I'm only on episode like 6, but yeah.
To me, it was a great franchise. I really had hoped for like a season 2, but DC is where we got the Housewives marriage curse from.
Yeah, because every single on that show is now divorced.
Yep.
Yeah, and I feel like Potomac is so close to DC that I feel like they wouldn't do a DC again. I don't know.
Well,
like a reboot.
What's weird is that Potomac is really mostly people that live closer to Baltimore.
Yeah.
Actually, the DMV, which is accessible along the Metro line. So it's DC, Maryland, and Virginia. You have to get on an Amtrak, the MARC, when you go into the outskirts of Baltimore, let's say. I mean, these women spend a lot of time in the car. Similar to the cast of Atlanta. They do.
Yeah, Robin lives in Baltimore, and then Mia lives even further, right?
No, it's Mia,
or Wendy.
Wendy.
Yeah, it was Wendy.
Yeah, and look at her glow up. She looks phenomenal.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. And Wendy on that episode of Project Runway, I know she wasn't happy with her outfit, but she looked amazing. Like that hairstyle on her looked so beautiful.
Well, she's a smart, beautiful woman.
Yeah. But the like blonde bob cut, just like it looked really good. And I didn't see that coming.
You know, I haven't watched, so I don't know. I didn't see the Project
Oh, bummer.
Runway stuff.
It's a fun episode. I highly recommend watching it.
Yeah, even if you don't watch Project Runway, it kind of felt like Girls Trip in a way because it was like a crossover.
Yeah, I don't watch Project Runway either. This is literally the first and only episode I've ever watched.
So funny.
There were multiple Housewives on it. I was like, I'm watching it.
I know. I should probably watch that one.
Anyway, we're like way on a crazy tangent, so we should stay on track because we have a lot to get into still.
Yeah, Leah, we still need to hear your favorite Real Housewives husband.
This is a hard one for me, but if I had to pick, it would be one that's not a husband. It would be Frank Catania.
Okay. Well, he counts. He was a husband.
He was a husband. And I know that that's a weird one to choose, but I just get I get such a kick out of him and Dolores and their relationship. And I just enjoy when he's in the mix of the show. I like Frank.
You don't have to justify yourself to me. I think Frank is so hot.
I don't know if I would even go so much by like looks. I just think he's I think he's someone that like when you're in your 50s, you're like, oh, if your husband's like that and like they're fun to be around, you're like, you're winning in the game of life in a weird way.
Yeah, I like him actually.
I mean, he's just funny, you know, he's just a good guy. Even though he's done bad things, because I think he got disbarred and stuff. I do like him. Like, I think he's a funny guy.
He cheated on his wife. He got disbarred, but he's a really good guy.
He's a good guy. He's made up for it.
So then before we get into Bravo news, the last question we have is, what is your favorite non-Real Housewives Bravo show?
My favorite non-Real Housewives Bravo show is Below Deck.
Okay. Med, regular, sailing yacht, all of the above.
I watch them all. That's the show I watch with my husband, but probably Below Deck Med is I enjoy a little bit more than the regular Below Deck now. But I don't know. It goes back and forth. It ping pongs each season. I have not enjoyed the current cast this season on Below Deck. But I still watch it and I still love it.
Yeah, everyone says that's the one show they can get their husband to watch.
Yeah.
It's like our thing. We watch it together. We like it. But it's just consistently good. It's just like a consistently good Bravo show.
Yeah, I love Below Deck as well. I got really into that during the pandemic. We have so much Bravo news to get into. Like, it's been so crazy. The Beehive has been buzzing. Period.
Nonstop.
So do you want to kick it off?
Yeah, I'll kick it off. So obviously last week we talked about Jenny's post that resurfaced. Well, Bravo this week officially released a statement that Jenny has been fired and will not be filming Real Housewives of Salt Lake City anymore. I'm sure that we're all happy about that. However, last night she did a live where she basically blamed all of her posts on a social media team. And what are our thoughts on the whole situation?
What are my thoughts? I kind of saw this devolving into a political thing. She is going to get the sound, Patriots, we ride at dawn. She is going to have a whole army of people now who are going to make her a poster child for this type of rhetoric and belief system and whatever. And at the end of the day, I feel like it's right versus wrong, and consistency needs to happen in the Bravo universe for what is acceptable and what isn't acceptable when it comes to things like racism and anti-Semitism and, bigotry and homophobia. I mean, we've come so far. If you've been a long time Bravo viewer, like I have, since the early 2000s or the late 90s. But there just needs to be a more consistent across the board
Yes, agreed.
plan in place, because it just makes no sense.
Yeah, I think the biggest confusion for me was when they fired all the Vanderpump Rules cast members in 2020, and then it felt like they just kind of like fell off the ship with like holding people accountable until now. So I don't know. I don't have a lot of I don't know. I'm not super sure that they're gonna stay on track, but you know, I don't have a lot of hope, but we'll see.
Well, speaking of that, Stassi is coming out with a new book called Off With My Head, and it's talking all about her life since getting fired from Bravo and becoming a mother. I heard her first book wasn't that good, so I'm pretty shocked she's writing a second one. Like, I really don't think she has that much to say in like the time span that since she got fired from Bravo. What do you guys think?
No, I don't really care what she has to say, honestly. I mean, I always liked her on the show, but I read her first book and it was pretty mindless, like really stupid. So I didn't even read the whole book, but it wasn't the best.
I mean, I think it's great if this is her niche, you know, like she's going to be an author now, and that's part of her umbrella for earning a living. I just have a hard time when people take something as serious as what they actually did to Faith. I mean, if you think about what actually transpired with Faith, that was pretty bad. Like, that was bad. That wasn't, that was bad.
It was.
And so I don't really like when you're trying to play the martyr, even if it's in sort of a funny way. Like, there's always room for growth. She's a mom now. She's going to be married. She's grown up. But just to this whole Marie Antoinette, like, off with her head. I mean, how self-absorbed does one person need to be to think that that's like not self-absorbed?
It's not surprising coming from her, and she still has a platform. She still has 1 million something followers. So I guess she's got to do something with that, right?
I agree with Leah. It feels kind of tone deaf. Like, she's saying, like, I lost everything. I hit rock bottom. And it was like that. If that's your version of rock bottom, that's pretty good.
Yeah, true.
Well, and also, I mean, let's say one more thing about Stassi. She was always very self-assured, very strong-willed. That was one of the most entertaining parts of her on Vanderpump Rules. And I always found it so disingenuous, like how they all remained friends with Jax, but like vilified Kristen. But then, like, you know, there was just like, if that was my ex-boyfriend, I would be like, done, bye, adios, you know, fix my friendship with my girlfriend. You know, there was parts of her that like I could never like make sense. Like, how are they all still so close with Jax? Make it make sense.
They got to film a show with him, so.
Well, no more, right?
Yeah, true, no more. Thank God.
He probably was so happy that he got mentioned during the Vanderpump Rules reunion.
For sure.
Life-changing.
On that note, should we head into the Vanderpump Rules reunion?
Yeah.
We're going to start with part 1 of the reunion, which in my opinion was more exciting than this entire season.
I'm with you.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I saw a lot of people hyping up the reunion, and I was still pretty bored with it. I'm not going to lie. I do think it was better than the season, but overall, I'm not huge on Vanderpump Rules this season.
Well, because it's not the show that we fell in love with when it first started airing. I mean, it's like, I want like the messy relationships of the servers and the bartenders, and just like that I have no money to live 20-something-year-old Hollywood lifestyle. And like, these people are all living in $2 million homes in Valley Village and
with babies,
and
you know,
and it's not the same.
Yeah.
You know, it's not the same. I like the train wrecks.
Exactly.
What it
That's
used
why
to be.
I think, it's time to put it to rest, and, they could focus on Tom Tom and, start it all over again with young people that work there. Yeah. What did you guys think about the whole James and Raquel situation?
The thing that surprised me the most is that the rest of the cast was so gobsmacked by it.
Yeah, same. I was surprised that nobody even knew.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I've seen now some reports saying that Raquel was the one that wanted them to do this on air during the reunion, that it really wasn't James who wanted this to happen the way that it happened. And that Raquel is the one, in fact, that has a new relationship already in place and stuff. These are just things that I've heard. I don't know if they're true or not.
So that's the word on the street, is what you're saying?
That's the word on the street. And listen, I thought it was so, like, when they brought up their lack of sex for the better part of 2 years, like, she did not need to go there. Like, that was too far, I think. And trust me, I ate it up as a viewer. I mean,
yeah, right.
But like, if this is someone you're in a 5.5-year relationship with and you're engaged to, and, I don't know. I just don't think that that was something that needed to be brought up. It didn't, it bothered me. And I love Raquel, but it bothered me. It was a little thirsty.
Yeah, I agree. But also, like, sex is a huge part of a relationship. And that can also explain, if there's not a physical aspect to it, I think then that can kind of explain to everyone else and the viewers why that relationship didn't work or wasn't working.
I think James has been embarrassed more than enough in the course of his relationship with Raquel.
True, but most of it was his doing. So
yeah, but that's who he was.
Yeah.
It's like you can't change a man. And I say this as an old married lady who's been with my husband since I was 23 years old. Like, they are who they are. And
true.
You know what you're getting when you sign up for it. And she made him a better person? Sure. I mean, of course, he's California sober now and all those other things, but I don't know.
Yeah, I wish the best for both of them.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, and Raquel's dad is like thrilled.
Yeah.
That's like pretty sad. And like the shallow grave comment to Lisa, that's like really messed up. Like,
yeah, I agree with that.
You can just like your child's partner without like completely like saying terrible things about them.
Or how about this? Like, I've been with my husband a long time, but if you're living with somebody, if you're building a life with them, you're earning a living, like, they've both made a lot of money off of their quote unquote relationship with each other. And with that, the problems with their families, with one another, like, that created good friction and drama. I just don't think I could be with somebody that my parents hated, or if my husband's parents hated me. Like, it seemed like both sides, like, didn't like the other. So I don't know, like, that's a recipe for disaster, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't think that relationship was ever really going to work out. They had a lot of challenges. And it's good that they didn't get married. There was another split that was mentioned on the reunion, which was Lala and Randall. What were your guys' thoughts on that?
Ooh, Lala looked really bad this episode. Like, yikes.
Agreed.
Well, I have a love-hate relationship with Lala. And I've done posts about it, but I will say that she went through the ringer answering her questions, like, regarding how their relationship started and all of that other stuff. And I think she did a pretty good job. Like, I think she answered the stuff that was thrown at her really well. You can tell she's like grown a lot from this situation.
Yeah, what I will give her is, like, I think she looked back and was like, these were the red flags. I ignored them. I realized that I did that. But on the other hand, she was so concerned about all of Brock's red flags, which yes, they are very red and they stand
They're
out.
on fire. Yeah,
But maybe she should have been more focused on her own relationship than, Sheena's.
Yeah, agreed. Like she was so hyper focused on things with Sheena, and maybe subconsciously she did know things were not okay with Randall. Who knows?
Yeah.
She just looked really bad.
Well, why were they not on set? Was it because of COVID? I was confused. They just sort of like out of an abundance of precaution.
I think they were like, they were either exposed or
That was
something
my
like
guess.
that.
My guess is that they were exposed.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Listen, I think that Sheena is very good too at throwing stuff out. And then she always has a way of rationalizing her behavior also. So I think when you get like a Lala and a Sheena together, who are both very similar personalities in that way, even though they do it completely differently, they're bound to butt heads. I mean, they're just they're so similar.
Lala's a little bit better about like being honest-ish. I say that with a grain of salt.
Mm-hmm.
So, but they both still love being the center of attention. They love when everything's all about them.
Right.
Yeah.
And Sheena she lives in a fantasy world, and she also is pretty sensitive. I think she takes a lot of things really seriously, like that whole TV hanging thing. Like she threw a fit about Charlie's tweet about it, which was just supposed to be funny. So there's like things like that. And then I just saw a bunch of tweets where fans were like, why did Brock like put the ring on 4 credit cards? And she's like, it was literally a joke. And she's like replying to like all these fans. Like she gets so worked.
Well, now she's blocking them.
Yeah.
Now she did a tweet. Anybody who says a mean thing about Brock, I'm automatically blocking you. That was her latest tweet in the saga. But I think Brock is not a bad person for Sheena. Okay.
Yeah.
I think though that so many red flags, like you said.
Too many for me.
Too many to keep track of. And I guess what they were getting at the reunion, which I kind of agreed with, was why are you spending all this money on an engagement party or on a wedding ring when all you need to do is finish paying the Australian government back and you'll be able to see your kids again? Like,
his priorities are all fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
That's screwed up.
Mm-hmm.
That's screwed up. Listen, is he a good hands-on dad with Summer Moon? Yes.
He also loves Sheena too.
Yeah.
They're very good fit for each other. It bothered me so much listening to them try to rationalize why you haven't finished paying your back child support and all that stuff. That bothered me.
Well, before we move on from Vanderpump, I want to ask you guys, do you think Vanderpump's officially dead, or do you guys think there's a way that they create a season 10?
It's really hard to say. A part of me feels like they are going to cancel it, but another part of me feels like there's a very real possibility that we're going to get an announcement for another season. So it's really 50-50 for me. I can't decide. What do you think, Leah?
I think we're going on a hiatus. I think we're going to go on a hiatus, and it's either going to come back like they did with OC, rebooted, reimagined after a hiatus, or it's going to be canceled and a new spin-off type series is going to come in its place, like you said, Michael, with like a tom-tom.
Yeah. They already did the revamp this season and it didn't work. So I'm like, how can they? I mean, I could see them bringing it back just cause, but I mean, the way the reunion ended, like it was James and Raquel breaking up, Lala and Randall breaking up, Sheena and Brock's relationship is sketchy. Like, I think it would be so much better if they did a Tom spinoff, because we would have the Toms, we'd have Katie and Ariana, and then they could kind of be the Lisa, but then Lisa could still like come and hang out or whatever. Because honestly, Lisa doesn't feel like that involved in the show anymore either.
No.
So, and then like we could still have cameos from Lala and Sheena and whoever else, but I think the focus needs to change.
The show feels like an afterthought at this point for Lisa Vanderpump.
Yeah, she really does not care at all.
I mean, listen, I think there were also talks of her having some sort of a similar show that was in her Las Vegas restaurant. I don't know if you guys remembered hearing that, which is why we were taken there on Vanderpump Rules. And, you know, maybe that's sort of where it needs to go, move completely away. Yeah.
Because I think that would be really good. Like you said, we need young 20-somethings that are broke, that are working in a restaurant, that actually have that drama rather than, you know, 30 or something, almost 40-year-olds that, you know, have houses and kids, and it's just different.
And hundreds of thousands of dollars that they're getting paid to be on a reality TV show too. I mean, that's the problem also.
Yeah.
And that's the problem with the Housewives franchises now too, in some respects, because they get these big paychecks. So they are so afraid they behave to keep the paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas before we just had this like chaotic energy of no one making any money and they're just on it to be on TV. And so no one was producing things behind the scenes. They were saying stuff right out in front of the camera. And now it's, do not say that on camera, or I'm mic'd, you're not allowed to say that, or this happened. And like that never used to happen. It wasn't until they started making a ton of money that started happening.
That's a good point. Well, do we want to get into Summer House next?
Yeah, let's do it.
We're going to get into episode 2 now of Summer House. I didn't think this was the most exciting episode compared to the premiere, but
no, we can only spend a couple minutes on this, if anything. But Leah, who is your favorite cast member on Summer House?
Paige. I love Paige.
Yes, we love Paige too.
She's
her. Mine.
She's like, I want to put her in my pocket and just take her around with me. She's so cute.
I really like Paige too. I'm a huge Lindsay Hubbard fan though.
I like her, and I like how real she was, and like she gives you some really heavy, intense stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm a Paige girl. I would like to get into the bed with her and Sierra and just like gab.
Yeah,
like,
I would love that.
Like, I want to do that. I think that would be so fun. But yeah, no, I'm a Paige girl.
Paige and Sierra are my favorites currently.
So they're so pretty.
Speaking of another gorgeous girl, Maya, we learned a little bit more about her this episode.
Right.
Her ex is like from Top Chef. I was like, that's cool.
When I used to watch it religiously too, I'm like, he's a cutie too. I mean, they must have been a really nice looking couple together. Well, she's a chef also, you know.
She's like a chef or like a baker.
Yeah. So, but I could see how when she talked about their relationship, it sort of made sense, especially since they're both in the same profession.
Yeah.
It must be hard to feel like a sidekick and not be recognized for your own accomplishments.
Totally.
Yeah. I wonder now that she's on this show if she would feel like a more level playing field.
I don't know, but we haven't really seen her like come out of her shell too much yet.
No.
I mean, I'm like waiting to see it, you know, like I'm waiting to see what happens.
I'm feeling a lot more potential from Maya than Alex. I absolutely cannot stand him. Like, we're 2 episodes in and I'm like, get this man off of my TV right now. All you talk about is your protein food and working out, and then you judge everyone else's food. And I'm like, why were you casted? You're a boring gym bro.
I don't know why they cast him either. It makes absolutely no sense. And like, he literally brings nothing to the table.
Nothing at all.
And like, we already have Andrea. Like, he's our like really like fit, good looking brunette man on the show. But like, we got introduced to Andrea in Winter House. So like, I didn't get what role Alex was trying to sort of fill. Like, I thought we filled that. We checked that box when we met Andrea and then invited him to Summer House.
Yeah, and Andrea has like a good personality still. He's fun. He has the relationship with Paige, which makes it interesting.
Yeah.
And then also, where's Luke? Is he on the season?
I don't know. He was in the Watch What Happens live audience this week, right? Yeah, this week. But
I feel like with all of these men, he was not needed, but
No, I think Luke is one that it's okay if he doesn't come back, but Alex is really bizarro. I agree with you.
I met Alex. Even like I didn't like Luke last season, but I would take him over Alex any day.
The thing I also thought was really good this week was obviously the punch, the
Yes.
kick.
Yes, I thought that was so funny.
I mean, I'm on team Andrea here. Like, I felt so bad for him when he was sitting in the bed with the ice pack on his head and Paige came in and he just like he was like a wounded puppy dog after that. I don't think he expected that.
No,
he was shocked.
Oh my God, that was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know. I don't really know the backstory. I mean, I saw him push that girl and it didn't seem like there was any reason to it or like that they were playing around before. So I guess I can kind of get why the girl was pissed, but also she could have just been trying to get her 5 seconds of fame. So
yeah.
Like, do you think they put out a casting call, like 4th of July party? If you're in the area, contact so-and-so. Like, where do all these people come from?
Yeah, I was wondering that too. And I mean, we're still like,
right?
COVID's still a thing too. So I don't know.
Very much still is.
Well, they must get screened. I have to think they were like, there's like a casting call that goes out for these parties at the summer house.
It's probably like some friends and then just like randos.
Yeah, but it's a great show. I love it.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it.
Now we're going to move on to the most recent episode of The Real Housewives of Miami. This episode picked up on the really uncomfortable lunch between Nicole and her father.
I felt really bad for Nicole. Really nothing got resolved from that conversation. And then when like seeing her call her mom and be like, well, I'm just like, you know, basically like you're my only parent. And like, that made me really sad.
Yeah.
Well, I think that it's like proof that, you know, no matter how old you get, when you have a parent who has substance abuse problems and clearly is not able to give her what she emotionally needs, you never outgrow that. Even if you're a 35-year-old doctor with a child of your own, you know. I thought that was such a great way to get to know Nicole. I think it was very real.
Yeah, and I'll just say I'm loving Nicole. Like, I actually didn't think I was going to like Nicole, and she's my favorite newbie.
I think Nicole really, we need to get a chance to get to know her. And I think people are sometimes so quick to judge these new hires, you know, if you don't know that they have such a good friendship. Like the old ones that were on the show, I mean, they were really friends, those women. Yeah. And so, I don't know, I could have done without Larsa.
Yeah, me too. Back. And Julia, honestly.
I kind of, you know what though, Julia and what's going on with her and Adriana, it's really like comedic relief in a lot of ways. I mean, they're just like, she's such a goofball, that Julia.
I like Julia a lot as well. And I am a big fan of tennis. So her being married to Martina Navratilova is like so iconic to me.
Right.
Like you are really tennis royalty and you're on The Real Housewives. Like, are you kidding me?
And listen, the cast of Miami, like they're very affluent women. I mean, they're not faking it till they make it. What you see is really what you get with them.
They're not Gina's.
No,
they're not. And also just the fact that we have this show after thinking that Miami was never coming back. I mean, 8 year hiatus is a long time.
Do you know that I went to the season 3 premiere party?
Oh my God.
They had? And I was thinking about it, I'm like, oh my gosh, it was so long ago. I only had one child at that point. So I'm with you. Like, I didn't think it was ever going to come back. And I love that it's back on Peacock because there's something about how they edit the Peacock shows. It seems so fresh to me. And like, it's just different. It's different than the Bravo formula.
Yeah.
And their cast photo is different too, which I really like.
I mean, they're beautiful. It's a beautiful cast. They're funny. They're really friends with each other. It's a slam dunk for me. And I wasn't obsessed with the first 3 seasons of the show. But now that I've kind of like figured out why, I think so much of it had to do with Joanna Krupa.
Oh, see, Joanna was my favorite.
Yeah, I love her.
But she was the one that wasn't really like their friend.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
I would say, yeah. I would say the one thing though, I like that they're all friends, but it makes it difficult for the newbies. And I think that's what Nicole's experiencing right now, is because they're all so tight that there is this like, it is kind of cliquey. So
well, that leads into the most important thing that happened this episode.
Yeah.
Right?
Which was the fight between Nicole and Marisol, and basically Nicole versus everybody.
Yeah.
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 I thought Nicole really stood her own. I was so proud of her. I mean, I love a shit stir, but like, I feel like Marisol, it just kind of came out of nowhere. And she was really throwing Nicole under the bus. And I didn't really understand why she was like so against her.
I had thought a lot about this, and you know what popped into my head? So she has this amazing close relationship with Alexia, right? Alexia is like her ride or die BFF.
Mm-hmm.
And I think she knew Alexia and Nicole were getting like friendly with each other, talking outside of filming, that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And if you were my honest opinion, I bet there was that little like seed of jealousy or something that
I can
set
see
in
that.
with Marisol. I really think that could be what it was, because she was like, I don't know this girl, I don't know her well, and she's becoming friends with my Alexia. That's just my feeling. That's what I think.
Okay.
I don't know if it's true, but I think that, because even if you heard the rumors that she threw out with what were being said, it all kind of circles back with Alexia.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then there was also the drama with Larsa again about her OnlyFans, which was kind of shitty because Nicole really, and they did the flashback where she was literally standing up for Larsa. Like, I did my research, like, it's not what I thought it was, like good for Larsa, like pro body positivity, like everything. But of course, Nicole was the bad guy.
Yeah, she wasn't a hypocrite at all. She owned it. We don't see housewives do that very often. But what the biggest takeaway for me was just how nasty Larsa was. Like, we hadn't seen that side of her, and if we have, I'm not remembering it. But the way she said that if she had a child out of wedlock, she wouldn't feel good about herself. Like, fuck you, Larsa. Like, it was just really gross and like weird to me that she's like judging Nicole for having a baby with a committed partner. Like, I just,
and I think Julia really like stood up there too. Like, I think you saw a good side of Julia's character a little bit in that interaction, and Kiki, the comic relief with her.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Oh my God. And then
I just feel like Julia is so
Kiki
out of place.
And then like Larsa yelled at Kiki also. I'm like, this woman like needs to take her chill pill or something. You know, she's very self-absorbed, that Larsa.
And she is Lisa too, which I was really surprised by.
Yeah, and I was mad at Lisa. She did not stick up for herself at all. She really just let Larsa like steamroll all over her.
Yeah, she did.
And I think Lisa's in a weird place because it even came up when Marisol, I think, and when Marisol was on Watch What Happens Live, when they were asking about Lisa and Lenny's relationship, and is it what we've heard, is that true? And Marisol was very PR about it, and she's like, well, you see what you see on the TV, don't you? So I think Lisa's in a weird situation that we've seen other housewives in, who are married to really wealthy men, and their marriages are rocky. Miami takes off and she's in a better situation for herself. I think there's something deeper going on there that like, I don't think everything is great in that marriage.
Yeah, I'm not getting a super authentic side of Lisa this season.
No, I think she's really trying to hunker down and make it work so
Yeah.
that this is something she has going forward.
Yeah.
I think she's as surprised as we are that the show even came back, and now she has like her 2 kids, and we know that was like where the show left off, where like we knew Lisa wanted kids. They were talking about surrogacy. Obviously that happened, but we never got to see any of it. So I just feel like Lisa is trying to make up for lost time / like wants to stay on the show. And her and Lenny, I don't think are going to stay together. Like he can't stand being around Lisa.
And it was not an emotional affair. I mean, the mistress came out, they had like a full-on relationship.
Do you know who the mistress was? Was it that Morgan girl
Yes,
from Bad Girls Club?
for Bad Girls
Yeah.
Club.
I loved her on Bad Girls Club, by the way. And
Yeah.
she dated Philip Plein, the fashion designer. So that's
Yeah.
actually super interesting to me.
She did a whole thing about it. Like she wasn't like this $2 hooker, like I guess
Yeah.
Lisa referred to her as. Like he was talking about her designing the closet because she was going to move into the house. Like Lisa wasn't even living in the house or something.
Yeah. So Lisa,
So there's some
like, is
stuff going on there,
Yeah.
for sure. And I think if the Miami Housewives continue, I think we're going to see a big
messy relationship.
I think we're going to see like a big
Yeah.
dumpster fire.
Yeah, because right now her whole storyline is like, oh, I'm like always home and Lenny's annoyed with me, and like, you know, it's very surface level.
But I think there's something bubbling.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Well, my favorite part of this episode was when Nicole said to Marisol, "You are bored with your life." I loved that.
No, Nicole honestly handled herself like a veteran Housewives star. I enjoy her.
Yeah, she really like held her own. I definitely think she's a star. I definitely think she'll obviously be back. Yeah, she has a beautiful house.
Stunning, top 3 of all-time favorite houses.
Yeah. Nicole's really checking all the boxes for me right now.
And her husband's a pilot. So flying around on a private plane that he flies. So
yeah, she's rich. She has storylines. She can hold her own in drama. She feels authentic. Like everything I'm enjoying about her.
I will say though about her reunion look, I wasn't a fan.
Yeah, that was probably my least favorite reunion look.
Stop it. My least favorite was Adriana.
Yeah, I didn't like Adriana as much either.
I thought that they all looked really nice. I thought Nicole's, I actually really liked hers. But see, I'm from South Florida. You know, I'm like I guess I'm used to that kind of bold, bright color. And she's got such an amazing figure. And I don't know. I thought she looked really good.
I guess it's not the bold color. I guess I really didn't like her hairstyle. It looked frumpy to me.
Yeah, I didn't like the hair.
It ruined the whole outfit for me.
Well, I could see that. But I thought the cake winner for the worst look was Adriana for me.
I didn't hate Adriana's. It gave me a little bit of figure dancing / OC reunion vibes. I'm not going to lie. But like, she looked good. Like, I didn't hate the dress.
I think her and Erica should wear the one that she wore to the reunion, the bubblegum pink one. They could wear those together to an 80s prom like reenactment party.
Lisa's dress gave me kind of Erica's dress vibes from the last Beverly Hills reunion. Like the material made me think of Erica's dress.
The problem is Lisa's figure is just so like next level. You could put anything on her and it's either going to look like fantastic or she could make it maybe not look like could look cheap.
Yeah.
She's like the boot, you know, it's like there's something about like that type of body. It's like she's just so flawless, like fit and whatever that, you know, I don't know. I feel like Lisa can't look bad in my eyes.
I thought she made it look elegant.
She's Lisa, you know, she's very true to her overall look. She stayed true to that.
She looked beautiful for sure. The material of the dress made me think of Erica's dress.
Yeah, there's something about that satin that, you know, I think we get to a certain age and satin and a bold color is just.
It Exactly. Yes. You hit the
Questionable.
nail on the head. Yes.
Questionable.
So before we get into Salt Lake, what was your guys' favorite look?
Oh, from the reunion,
Yeah.
I thought that Larsa looked beautiful. The
Mhm.
best that she looked all season. The
Yeah.
only time that I've liked how she looks so far this season was those reunion pictures. I thought she looked beautiful.
I actually liked Lisa's the most because I really like the color. But I also liked Alexia's a lot. And I didn't like Gertie's initially, but I saw it in a different lighting and it was a lot more
Spectacular.
flattering. So I thought the
beautiful.
lighting was kind of off in those pictures. So
Birdie's dress, when you really like look at it, her dress is really something.
yeah. And the color is really pretty.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Should we?
What was your favorite, Gabby?
Oh, my favorite is a tie like Leah between Larsa and Gertie.
Moving on to a city that did not have a very spectacular reunion look, should we get into our final episode for tonight, which is Salt Lake?
Oh my gosh, yes. We have like so much to unpack with Salt Lake City.
I hate watched it. I have like this is like my curse. If too much is going on outside of the show, it's like it's hard for me to watch certain people when I'm like really upset at them.
Yeah. See, a lot of people are like, this episode was so messy. I'm like, bring it on. Like, I'm so entertained. Like, I'm really enjoying Salt Lake, probably the most out of any of the cities right now, which is I may be surprising, but
they're definitely bringing it. Like what we learned in season 1 versus what we see in season 2. I mean, they've really, they've gotten the assignment.
yeah, they've upped the game for sure. Well, this episode started with kind of the continuation of Jen and Meredith's drama. Do you guys think that Meredith had anything to do with Jen's indictment, or do you think that's like a very bogus claim?
She had nothing to do with it. Absolutely not. I thought her confessional where she's like, I'm flattered these women think like I am able to help the FBI, but they can do it without my help.
Oh, I love that. Like, I think it's really just great that Heather and Whitney, bad weather, they plant these ridiculous notions. Like this is a ridiculous notion that like Mary and Meredith had anything to do with 5 different government agencies descending upon Beauty Lab. They're the two that actually planted this seed and have allowed it to sort of grow into this ridiculous storyline where Jen actually believes.
Yeah. Well, Jen is, I feel like, easy to manipulate, and she's like in such a rough mindset right now that, I think she kind of fall for anything.
Me up. I mean, come on. Like, really?
I'm not a Meredith fan, but I don't think she had anything to do with it. If anything, maybe the PI like dug up some information about the investigation, but like, because Meredith made that comment when she was on the phone with Brooks that it was like a 9-year investigation, which was kind of interesting. Like, I don't know where she got that, but.
Well, maybe because the PI was investigating the text messages she was getting.
Yeah.
And it's entirely possible that in investigating that stuff, he pulled something up. I mean, they would not have arrested her if they did not have a solid case. And then as soon as we found out that Stuart flipped in real life, it's sort of like, it makes me laugh even more that people actually would believe that Mary Cosby or Meredith Marks had anything to do with her getting arrested.
Yeah. And like you said, it was all Whitney. Like when they do all the flashbacks to when they're in the Sprinter van, like Whitney's the one speculating everything. Well, was Meredith really at her dad's memorial? Did Meredith have anything to do? Like she's the one, like you said, planting the seeds.
Oh, yeah. And like Heather waters it.
Yes. Heather really has had Heather could not be there and I wouldn't notice this season. Like I really don't think she's had a stake in like anything, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's so true. And it's a bummer because I loved her so much during the first season, but she's irrelevant this season.
I think she's in a weird place because it seems like she has such undying loyalty to Jen.
Yeah.
And I think it's hard now that all this stuff, I mean, Jen was arrested. So I think she loses a little bit of her mojo against the other side, like Lisa, let's say, and the Meredith, since like she loses a little of her mojo because like her other girl, Jen, like how close can you align yourself really?
When
like,
she's going to be gone.
No, it's true though. I mean, if you think about it, like how much could you align yourself? She had Whitney and she had Jen before.
Yeah.
Now she has to tread a little lightly, a little differently.
Now she's only going to have Whitney. I mean, I guess she can visit Jen in jail, but.
And we're going to see, I think, the trial. It's going to be filmed.
Mhm.
I'm so ready.
Same.
Gosh.
We thought season 2 was good. We don't even know what's coming.
But what do you think about her having the glam squad with her?
I think it's very on brand for her. I think she likes all of that.
But where is she getting the money to pay for it?
Yeah, especially since her mother is giving up her retirement.
$1 million.
Are you freaking
Yeah.
kidding me? You're spending money on a glam squad when your mother's like, I'll do anything for you. Just please give me a place to live. Like, you should not be spending your money on a glam squad, Jen.
Yeah, that's sad.
That's
But
bad. And they don't even
Jen-
own a home to live in.
she loves the fame. She loves the attention. I think she really craves it, unfortunately.
But that's like delusional. I was like, Jen, come on,
Yeah.
get it together, girlfriend. Not let everyone know you brought a glam squad. Even if you did.
Yeah,
pretend you
keep
didn't.
it on the DL.
Yeah, seriously.
What were you guys' thoughts on Meredith's big blow up in the morning after Lisa had told her about the women speculating about her dad's memorial?
Oh my God. The way she screamed off limits was like, wow.
I kind of loved it.
Me too.
Fantastic.
I always complain about, like last season, I complained about Meredith not being involved enough in the drama. And then now that she's actually like blowing up and stuff, I'm like, for some reason, she annoys me when she gets mad. I loved it, but like something about her being mad annoys me.
Listen, she's in her hot pink Meredith Marks satin pajamas, which, you know, I mean, I love how she's just rocking her merch all over during filming.
I know.
She is. Like, she was wearing the sweat outfit where it had
Yeah.
the quotes all over it.
Yeah. But I couldn't get enough of that. And I have to be honest, her engaging, she does a very good job at pushing certain people's buttons. So I think we always forget she's an attorney. She's a lawyer. Like these women are not going to win an argument against her. I mean, she could probably keep going until she wants to stop because she's trained to do that.
I did enjoy her when they all were letting loose at the end. I thought she was really fun when she jumped in the pool, like with her top off. I was like, okay, I like this side of Meredith. Like
and was drinking out of the
the whatever that is,
the trifle dish or whatever that big.
I was thinking, I'm like, that's like the first time we've seen all these women like actually have fun and like let loose. Like it felt like Roni for a second.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
I actually really enjoyed the like end of it. I thought that was like fun and like, you know, not so serious for a second.
It was a good episode.
Yeah. And I loved Lisa bringing Vita as the bottle service.
So on brand.
Never seen Vita tequila in the stores.
No.
I always keep an eye out for it too.
Yeah.
I've gone to Total Wine. We just got a Total Wine here and I've gone a couple times and they didn't have it. So
yeah, I want to get a bottle of it, even if just to like keep on display.
On display.
With my good vibes only.
Your girl, Melissa.
I think Lisa is, I really like Lisa on the show.
We love Lisa.
Yeah.
I'm obsessed with Lisa.
I'm obsessed with her too. And I think I just want her to have a Diet Coke, like just let her have her Diet Coke in peace. Like,
yeah.
And her Kit Kats for breakfast.
Wasn't she Diet Coke? I think Kit Kats, a mimosa. I'm trying to think like what else she might have had in her hands at that moment. And I'm like, breakfast of champions. And it was
so funny.
My sister texted me and she was like, what? How is Lisa so skinny? with what
And
she eats.
I remember her saying that she has Kit Kats for breakfast like every morning.
And she's so thin. And I'm just like, whoa, like good for you.
Yeah, I know.
That's the only thing I hate about her.
Skinny bitch.
No, but I thought she was so funny this episode too.
Like everything she does is funny to me. So,
but I think when she started crying at the dinner, I mean, I think she was genuinely like I think she's genuinely upset.
And she was on Watch What Happens Live after the episode and said that she was still not in a good place with Meredith or Jen. So
it makes sense, but I think Meredith and her have been devolving for a long time. But
and then the preview, oh my God.
It's going to be a good Sunday.
It's going to be so good.
So that is it for our coverage of Salt Lake City. We absolutely loved having you, Leah, for this episode of The Word on the Street Is. And if you could share with our listeners your TikTok and any other social media.
My TikTok is Queen Board. I have just started my Instagram, Queen Board FL, because Queen Board was taken. So it's FL. And I have my YouTube, Queen Board, where we do deep dives on Bravo celebrities or on just random people in pop culture.
I love that.
To know.
So there you go. I had so much fun though, guys. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, this was really fun. We'll definitely have you on again.
Okay. And I'll see you on TikTok and Instagram.
Yes.
Bye, guys.
All right. Bye. Good night.
Bye.